Hello there everyone, and welcome to a new Let's Play with me, your host Tim. And today, we'll begin playing through Call of Cthulhu, Dark Corners of the Earth together. There'll be some prep which you can skip by going down to the comment section down below, where I will have a pinned comment from me, or just a normal comment on BitChute, which will allow you to jump ahead to where we don't just do prep work, in case you don't care about that sort of thing. And we'll get right to the adventure. So, Dark Corners of the Earth, Call of Cthulhu, is a game that's now out on Steam and GOG. It's an old game, as you can see, made in 2006. Before we go any further, you should know that I've had endless problems with the Steam version of the game. It was one of the few games on Steam I refunded after trying unsuccessfully to play through the game, and it crashed. Oh, like every 5 minutes, and it became impossible to get past this one part. The game kept crashing there. I do not recommend you pick up the game on Steam unless the developers have actually addressed the issues there. The game is up here on GOG, though, and I have picked it up there. Hopefully, it won't have the same problems. If you never see this video, then know that, well, it still has the same problems, and that's a real shame. The game itself is a horror-themed game, as we would expect any game by H.P. Lovecraft to be. I don't want to ruin too much about it, just know that from my brief time playing the game, I maybe played the game for like 2 to 3 hours, and that was a long time ago. This is a stealth-based game, at least in the beginning, and later on it will switch over to being action-based, combat, FPS style, for a good amount of it, if I recall correctly. The game features I don't know how to describe it, a jumble of all the various different types of H.P. Lovecraft-related stories, kind of thrown together into one story. We'll see the Shadow over Innsmouth, we'll find the Shadow Out of Time, we'll have Call of Cthulhu itself, there'll be a Shoggoth in this, there's all sorts of nightmarish things picked from all different types of Cthulhu-esque stories. And I really love Lovecraftian stories, and I liked it very much. The beginning portions are very eerie, and they did a fantastic job on Innsmouth when we get to it. You feel like you do not want to be there. You are very unwelcome. Fantastic job. Later on, though, the game again becomes more action-based. So in the creepy portions of the game, I won't do too much talking. However, in the more FPS versions of the game, I will talk, and a little more freely than I normally would for a horror-themed game. Whenever we're in a new area that is more creepy, though, you should expect, that's the word I'm looking for, me to keep it thematic rather than be babbling too much. There is a good deal of texts in the game, and I will read all of them. The game is also fully voiced, dialogues between characters, so I won't talk over any of that if I can avoid it. I will do my best to explain where things come from for the H.P. Lovecraft-related stories, or what the creature might be if I can remember it at all. That's generally about it. Oh, actually, there's a few more bits. I think mentioned that the game is a stealth game for the beginning portions, and it's brutally difficult as well. If you mess up, odds are you are as good as dead. So you should also expect me to die quite a few times in the game. I did not beat this game either. I only played it for maybe 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours, and that was many years ago as well. I never recorded it. I think the first time I played the game was when my YouTube channel was actually out and about, back in 2008, 2009, something like that. Ow, so long ago now. But yeah, so I don't know what the later portions of the game will be like. So you might expect me to also do a bit of saving and reloading, because I remember supplies running low, and enemies respawn in this game after some amount of time has passed, making doubling back and running through areas very tricky, and I would say a cause of your campaign to basically flutter out and die, because you run out of bullets, and then you're shot, and then you're just eliminated. Don't be. We'll be so. Well, maybe you should be. This is a horror game. Alright, everyone, I think that about sums it all up. Oh, sorry for that awkward cut. The game sliced off like 15 seconds of my talking at the end. Sounds like my voice is coming in okay. We've got like 2 more things to cover, and then we'll be good to go. Though these 2 things might take a little longer than some of the other parts I've already taken. I have recorded this game for an hour and a half now, and I decided to throw away that recording. The game's field of view felt terrible. It was like I was zoomed in the entire game. I thus went online, and I found an unofficial patcher which can be run to fix the field of view for the game. It also fixes a few more glitches that I didn't know the game was going to have, one of which would make the game unbeatable if it had happened to us. So I will put a link in the description to that patcher, and some small other details telling you what it fixes. My virus software scans this patcher whenever I run it on the executable, but it's a patcher. It doesn't contain any malware or viruses that I've detected, just as a heads up if you decide to download it yourself. What else is there? Know that I like playing this game thematically, and so I will probably be walking everywhere, not like it matters anyway. The game features, I think, only 2 modes of movement, walking and stealth. Stealth, well, it's really slow. Very, very slow. Too fast, too slow to be considered walking. Walking feels like you're actually kind of power walking, and or almost running, but those are our 2 speeds, either too slow or slightly too fast. So we will probably play the game with slightly too fast speed, just because that way we're not crawling along on a snail's pace. So I will stealth in certain sections when it makes sense to do so.
We are waiting for you.
Alright, well they're waiting for us, everyone. Let's go ahead and start us up a new game. We have to pick a difficulty here. So Boy Scout is easy, Private Investigator is normal, Hard and Detective and Mythos Specialist are unlocked when you complete certain things in the game. I think you have to score a certain amount of points to unlock those 2 difficulties. Points are awarded to you depending upon how quickly it took you to beat the game, or how long, I suppose I should correct myself there, and how many times you saved the game. I think you're allowed only so many... We'll cover save slots in the game. The game uses a checkpoint-like system. Or rather, you can only save the games at certain points, similar to how Turok worked. Alright, let's go ahead and pick Private Investigator and see what's lurking in the dark corners of the earth.
Now, at my end, I can fully see. My last case opened in me a new fear, a real fear, a fear of myself, what I am, and of what I've always been. All that I was is now lost. Hope, purpose, pleasure, all meaningless. I now walk in the shadows between worlds, and it is there I have finally glimpsed upon what lives in the dark corners of the earth.
I like the way you smile at me, baby. I like the way you smile at me, baby. So baby,
Robert, this had better be good. What's the beef? Sorry, Jack. We had to call. This fellow will only talk to you. Name's Victor Holt.
Don't know any Victor.
He's the leader of this weird cult that moved in here a few months back. Got about 20 followers. They've been causing trouble all over town. Stealing, going through folks' trash, hanging around outside people's homes at all hours. No one ever presses charges, though. They're a screwy bunch. They've got the locals scared. So tonight, we were just passing, doing the normal rounds, when we heard gunshots fired from their property.
Gunshots? Hang on there. No one said anything about gunshots. Who have we got out here?
Yeah, just me, Nichols, and a few new recruits.
Well, that's just great. Lead the way, Robert. I better check out this crazy gang of yours. How you doing, kid?
Good, sir. Is it true what they say about you?
Depends on what they're saying.
That you've cracked cases where there was no evidence.
You shouldn't believe everything you hear.
Right.
Jack, Officer Nichols will brief you at the top. Be careful.
What's taking him so long? Something must be wrong.
I think I saw him with Officer Armstrong. Just take it easy.
We're wide open here.
It's okay. I've got you covered. I don't like this. Something's not right.
Something's not right. Nothing's right about this.
Evening, Jack. Glad you could join the freak show.
How's it looking, Henry?
I don't like this one bit, Jack. Check the alley on the right. Victor Holt's over there in the shadows. He's waiting for you.
Can we trust him?
Nope, but we've got you covered. You better take it slowly, though. They're a bit twitchy.
Try to stay calm. You better hurry, Jack.
Oh, shit. As I continue to translate the narcotic fragments, I become more and more eager to contact my Yithian masters. These beings truly are gods to us. Their intellect and knowledge surpasses ours in ways impossible to comprehend. I know now just how insignificant mankind is in the universe, a doomed and simple species thrown up as a side effect of an experiment by the elder things. It is a blessing that such flawed creatures as ourselves have such a short and limited future.
That one to the right taking cover. Kill him.
That symbol's strange. Looks almost like a flaming eye. I should take a closer look.
Die, you pathetic bastards!
The eye is a safe spot. We will not be using that one.
That's an unusual design. It's locked.
That one to the right taking cover. Kill him! At last! Thank you.
They seem to recognize me. I don't get it. Empty ammo boxes and spent shells. Nothing useful.
I keep low in this section because we don't want to be shot by the police. It's raining outside and foggy. They could very likely take us for one of the cultists.
Don't shoot. I'm unarmed.
Ah, we've been expecting you, Mr. Walt.
Witnessing a murder or a kill can oftentimes result in you losing your sanity. This will be represented by increased heart rate and you breathing heavier. If it gets worse, you'll begin mumbling to yourself, and at extreme levels of sanity loss, if you have a weapon, you will try to kill yourself, if I recall correctly.
Damn, he recognized me, and it sounded like he was going to get on the level with what's going on in this joint. He's dead. Looks like a bad case of lead poisoning. A key. Could come in handy.
I'm glad Mr. Walters is able to keep his sense of humor in this situation.
Poisoning by the looks of it. He's dead. They're all dead. I can't open it. A diary. This will make interesting reading. It won't open. It's locked. It's unlocked. I don't understand. I mean, all of these photos. All of them. There must be some kind of mistake. Why would they want me here? It must be an old case. Something I've forgotten. Some screwball with a grudge, maybe. Think. I've gotta think.
Either give ourselves a few moments, compose ourselves, and then we'll go back into the room again.
It looks like an eye, but the rest of the painting has no real shape. A depiction of some alien creature. This blasphemous image makes me feel uneasy.
Doesn't look like there's any good place to go. We'll just have to search this room quickly.
Another key. This should fit the door across the hall. All these photos and clippings are of me. I just don't get it. What a nut house. The walls have been covered with glyphs. It's unlocked. The drawer holds an ancient manuscript. The symbols on the front seem to be written in classical Greek. There are definitely some strange sounds coming from this side of the room.
We will read all the manuscripts later. This doesn't seem like a good time to do so.
Shit, that did not sound good.
Oh no, okay. We might have been stuck there.
Well, that's just swell. He's dead. The beam must have fallen and crushed his skull.
Great, morgue.
Medical charts on the human anatomy. This sink would be used for scrubbing up. Dead bodies, and plenty of them. Something dreadful has been going on down here. In all my time on the job, I've never seen anything like this before. Seems like these cabinets are used for storing chemicals and medical equipment. Looks like his stomach. The contraption above seems to be controlling his breathing. His beating heart.
Oh my god. I can't imagine the amount of pain he is in.
Looks like his brain. I wonder what those wires are for. This pipe must drain the waste from his intestines. Looks like his kidneys. They're moving around in all that liquid. Nothing of interest. This tunnel feels like it's gonna collapse at any moment. It looks like it's full of mercury. It looks like something's been removed from it.
Looks like we need one of those green crystals.
What the hell is that?
We saw a schematic of this back up on the second floor.
Ah! It's too hot to pick up.
Can we deactivate the device which is torturing this gentleman?
Oh, shit!
At least he's out of his misery now.
His intestines have stopped moving. The crystal's still warm.
We're a detective. Let's see what this device does.
It's been more than 6 years since I entered that strange house in Boston. But to me, it was just 5 months ago. Amnesia, the doctors called it. Probably brought on by acute mental stress. I remember investigating the far side of the library. There was screaming. According to the police report, they had searched the house for hours, only to find me later collapsed on the floor. When my eyes opened and I spoke, my colleagues recoiled in fear. There was something unnatural in my voice and blank gaze. They committed me to Asylum, where I was diagnosed with severe schizophrenia. As it became clear that I presented no danger to either myself or others, I was released from the asylum's care. I have learned little of my activities in the 6 years that followed. The accounts I've been able to piece together show much of my time was spent in travel and study. I maintain a fanatical infatuation with the occult, delving deep into volumes concerning witch cults and dark legends, often in languages unfamiliar to my own. When I reawakened 5 months ago, exactly 6 years after entering that house in Boston, no trace was left of what had been a secondary personality. I was myself again, or at least what I believed myself to be. Return to normal life has been a painful process. In recent days, my dreams have been plagued by cosmic landscapes, and I've become fearful of my own reflection. I'm beginning to remember things from that day, more than 6 years past, that I've told no one else. Jack Walters.
Hello, Mr. Walters. My name's Arthur Anderson. I need your help finding a missing person.
I don't take that kind of job.
Did you get my package?
Hold on. What exactly do you want from me, Mr. Anderson?
It's one of my store managers, you see. Brian's his name. Brian Burnham. Nice lad. He disappeared recently from the First National grocery store in Innsmouth.
Innsmouth? Never heard of it.
It's a small fishing town on the coast, not far from Arkham. I'd like to see you in person before you leave.
Hold on there a minute. I didn't agree to take this what the hell? I'll be here all day anyway.
New client, February 6th, 1922. I have a new client, Mr. Arthur Anderson, the regional manager of the First National grocery store chain. It appears that the First National grocery in Innsmouth was recently burglarized, and its manager, one Brian Burnham, is missing. From what I've been able to gather, Burnham is something of a young rogue. A friend of the family, Mr. Anderson, gave him the job as a favor. Burnham is looking like the prime suspect for the robbery, but there are a few things that don't add up, not to Anderson and not to me. For instance, why would Burnham force an entry into the store when he had a full set of keys, free access to the cash register, and the combination to the back office safe? To misdirect any investigation? If that was his plan, why did he disappear? Following my conversation with Mr. Anderson, I found out what I could about the ancient town of Innsmouth. For generations, the crumbling seaport and its people have been shunned by neighboring communities. Outsiders are unwelcome there, and there are superstitious tales of a strange element in the town's oldest families. They are of mixed blood, so the stories go, whatever that's supposed to mean. The usual Hicktown prejudice, no doubt. After making a brief visit to Innsmouth, my client came away distrustful of the local authorities. He isn't buying their line that Burnham robbed the place and wants to know what happened to him. Only one bus goes to Innsmouth, and tomorrow afternoon I'll be on it. It feels good to have a purpose after 5 months of trying to break through my amnesia. I also feel a little apprehensive. Maybe it's just the wild stories about the town, or maybe it's just because I haven't had a case in so long.
Driver, how far to the stop?
It's almost there. I'll drop you at the town square of Innsmouth.
Why lock the gates?
Keeps out wanderers looking for work. We don't want those folks like that interfering with our affairs.
Is the bus from Arkham always this empty?
Aye, and we prefers it that way. Not many come to Innsmouth.
But what about trade? Surely the port needs business.
Innsmouth has the means to look after her own. This is it, stranger. End of the line.
Welcome to Innsmouth, everyone. Let's see how the locals take to us being here. Maybe actually the taxi driver or bus driver will have some knowledge about where Burnham is.
Could you direct me to the First National grocery store? I hear they have a shop in town.
I don't know nothing about that.
Oh, well, you see, I'm looking for a young lad called Brian Burnham. I'm a friend of the family. He worked in the store.
Don't know who you're talking about, fella.
The First National's a large chain. You sure you haven't seen it?
I'm sure. Stop bothering me with questions.
Reckon gonna get any help from him. He left us off at a hotel. Let's take a look around here, and maybe someone here can give us some instructions. Another one of those eye symbols.
A dusty assortment of old books. It won't open.
Place has definitely seen better days. Innsmouth does not get many people, or visitors, I suppose, to her port these days.
Nothing of interest. Evening.
Hi.
The name's Jack Walters. I'm just visiting.
You don't say, sir. Gilman. Charlie Gilman. I run this here hotel of an evening.
You got any rooms?
I'd not rightly know that for sure. All habits cleaning rooms at present. Them's from out of town can leave a horrid mess.
Talking to this fellow's getting me nowhere, and he's more than a touch creepy. If I need a room and I'm desperate, then I'll come back.
We'll talk to him one more... No, we'll leave him alone. He is very creepy. His eyes look like they're glassed over. His hands look like they're... You can see black veins on them. I don't think we'll be able to take that key without him noticing, and I don't think we'll be allowed upstairs with him here. I will talk more often while we're not under any duress, as a heads up, but I'll still keep it thematic for the non-combat parts.
The First National's a large chain. You sure you haven't seen it?
I'm sure. Stop bothering me with questions.
Fantastic.
I'm looking for Brian Burnham.
Can't help you.
This statue commemorates the men who fought in the Revolutionary War.
Innsmouth.
Coming, snooping around where they ain't wanted.
To her sons, who died for liberty. 1775?
See you talking to the outsider. You get thrown in jail.
I've told him nothing.
Wow. And they both turned to look directly at us after. Holy crap.
Do you know the Burnham lad? He worked...
Can't help you.
Oh, here's the First National grocery store right here. We passed it on the way in.
Seems this grandiose structure is the esoteric order of Dagon. It won't budge.
Let's sit down and read some of the information that we have currently, our journal entries and so on. This might take about, maybe about 10 minutes, everyone. Hopefully it takes less than that. So, we've read these two so far. Let's read about the local disturbances. This would have been the last thing that we investigated before our amnesia had hit. September 6th, 1915. I guess I'm becoming a victim of my own success. After closing the last 5 cases so fast, the papers had been calling me a local hero. But I just had a run of lucky hunches, that's all. I'm just another cop doing his job. So there's a disturbance at a local residence. It's probably just a bunch of kids hopped up on moonshine. Why call in a detective? Maybe the uniform boys are sore at being out in this weather, and they want to share the joy with the local hero. It wouldn't be the first good-natured prank I've had to take since those newspaper reports. I don't know, though. Something doesn't feel right. It's more than just a regular bad feeling. It's hard to explain, but it's strong. I'm probably just tired. Those dreams don't help. I can't remember when I last got a good night's sleep. Must be a month at least. Right about the time I started my run of lucky hunches. The dreams have been getting worse lately. I'm almost afraid to close my eyes. Bourbon helped at first, but not anymore. The lack of sleep must be affecting my nerves. Well, jitters or not, I better get going. Missing entries for 5 years. I'm completely unable to recall what led to my confinement in the Arkham Asylum or what happened to the 6 years between my 2 visits there. 6 years. They tell me I had some kind of personality change that night in Boston. They watched me for a while, decided I wasn't dangerous, and let me go. After 6 years, I switched back, just as mysteriously. They admitted me again, found nothing wrong, and here I am. Among the personal effects they returned to me is a leather-bound journal. Perhaps it will tell me what I've forgotten. Looking through the journal, all I can find is my life as a police detective. There is no hint of any illness or mental strain or anything else that could explain my change of personality or the equally sudden recovery that still baffles my doctors. However, a number of pages have been torn from the journal. Who did it or why, I can't tell. Did I destroy them myself to suppress some horrific memory? Or did the asylum staff judge their contents detrimental to my treatment? Why was part of my life erased? What is it that I can't remember, and who wants it to stay forgotten? Is it a precaution to protect my sanity, or the key to something I need? Let's read up on the Boston Globe. This would have been, wow, ages ago. A little bit further past when we lost up, before we went on that one fateful mission. Enlightened or duped, inside Boston's strangest church. Those of our readers who live near its headquarters in an ordinary-looking Boston residence will need no introduction to the Fellowship of Yith, or whatever the cult's name is. For those who have not encountered this mysterious semi-religious group before, a few words of explanation are necessary. Since our country's founding upon the basis of religious freedom, its shores have been home to many small religious groups outside the mainstream. No small number are headquartered in the states of New England, where the Pilgrims themselves sought a new world free of religious persecution. But the question must be asked, at what point does a religion become a cult, and its trusting adherents, not to mention its blameless neighbors, become victims? That is the question this journal poses in regard to the Fellowship of Yith. In a month-long investigation, our intrepid reporters have diligently sought out the truth behind this so-called church. Its origins are somewhat mysterious, the more so since the group's leaders declined to be interviewed, or to assist our investigation in any way. However, it seems that the Fellowship was founded more than 20 years ago by one Victor Holt, based on a revelation he had received from beyond the confines of his world. Holt has not been seen for almost 6 years. His followers apparently believe that he is communing with the mysterious powers behind his faith, and that he is shortly to return with new insights and teachings. All this sounds like a harmless, if eccentric, spiritual group, little different from many others. However, those who make their homes near to the Fellowship's headquarters tell a different, more sinister story. The adherents of this obscure sect are to be found loitering on street corners, casting menacing glances at their innocuous neighbors, and frequently engaging in acts of petty crime, which the local police seem powerless to prevent or redress. Strange lights have been observed burning in the windows of the old house at all hours of the day and night. They change color unpredictably and cast weird, unintelligible shadows. Even more disturbing are the noises which have been heard to issue from within the mysterious building. They include chanting, unearthly music, and, worst of all, screams like those of lost souls in agony. Many of the sect's neighbors are convinced that its services include human sacrifice or similar atrocities. Those few who dared complain to the police were told that because the house is private property, and because there is no concrete evidence of any wrongdoing, the most they can do is file a noise complaint. Are the horrors of Salem being reenacted in our city more than 2 centuries on? Is this fellowship of Yith engaging in unspeakable and criminal acts of worship involving torture and sacrifice? Why is nothing being done to ease the fear and distress they cause to the local community? A source within the police department, speaking on the condition of anonymity, tell the Globe that the Fellowship is suspected of involvement in a number of local crimes, but so far the lack of evidence and the reluctance of nervous witnesses to come forth have thwarted any official investigation. Very well, we say. Where the police cannot or will not investigate, the Globe shall continue to act in the interests of Boston's citizens, fearlessly exposing the truth about this so-called church and its followers. It sounds like we actually have a decent journalist. That's a pretty rare sight these days, even back then, I suppose. Our findings will be published in these pages over the following months so that all may know the truth. Editor's note. It is with great sorrow that the Globe announces the death of reporter Howard Addlestone, who was leading the paper's investigation into the Fellowship of Yig when he apparently drowned in Boston Harbor. The coroner has ruled his death a suicide. Our condolences go out to his family. Oh, interesting. Was he getting too close to the truth and was killed for it? Also, there was a typo here. Yig and Yith. They are 2 different things in the Lovecraftian world. Yith are the race, the Great Race, I believe is their other name. The giant creatures that we saw. Yig is an old one, a snake creature of some considerable power, if I recall correctly. We'll read one more, and then we'll go exploring for a bit. Let's read the Arkham Advertiser. This is the reason why we're here, after all. Grocery store robbed, manager missing. Thieves have robbed the First National grocery store in Innsmouth, breaking down the door and forcing open the cash register. The newly appointed manager, Mr. Brian Burnham, has been missing since shortly before the robbery. This is a very disturbing turn of events, said Mr. Arthur Anderson, First National's regional manager, from his Arkham office. This branch had only recently opened, and First National Grocery had high hopes for its success given the general lack of modern stores and amenities in Innsmouth. The robbery is a definite setback, and more worrying still was the fact that the branch manager remains unaccounted for. Innsmouth authorities could not be reached for comment. Well, we can try talking to the police ourselves then, I suppose.
Excuse me, Constable. Jack Walters.
Robes. Alien robes. What do you want?
Could you help out a stranger to this fine port?
Are you being funny?
No, not at all. I'm after directions to the First National. I hear they have a store in town.
Innsmouth don't take too kindly to them from out of town. Get lost, stranger.
Do you know the Burnham lad? He worked in the First National.
Please, stop bothering me, stranger.
I'm looking for Brian
I can't be seen talking to you.
I saw a police officer guarding what looks like a side path to the First National grocery store. Let's look for another entrance if we can find one.
These are the choices. the noble and the brave, who love a life in the tempest strife, in the home of the mountain wave. When the driving rain of the hurricane puts the lights of the lighthouse out, and the growling thunder sounds his gong, and the whirlwinds battle out. And who's that there? Oh, can you spare a few pennies, young mister? I can give you something for your generosity.
Who are you?
Zadok, that be my name, though too few use it now. Zadok Allen.
Do you know a Brian Burnham?
Just a young'un. Worked over the store. He's gone. Killed, I reckon.
Killed? What makes you think that?
Them's from out of town running a store. Taking business from the Order of Dagon. They'd not accept that.
What else can you tell me about this port?
You just bring old Zadok a bottle of something nice, and old Zadok will fill your ears.
If you pardon my asking, have you lived here in this port all your life?
Last 37 years in old lady Warren's house. Before that, over by fishing cannery. Cannery.
Old Lady Warren's house?
Go and fetch me a bottle of something to wet old Zadok's whistle, and I'll tell you all.
Okay, we'll keep an eye open for some alcohol then.
The old drunkard knows something. I don't think it would take much to get his tongue wagging. I'm looking for Brian
We're in the wrong place, asking the wrong questions, outsider.
Everything looks boarded up and abandoned completely.
Oh, God. Some poor soul's hung herself. Evening. The name's Jack Walters. It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss...
Miss will do for now. Welcome to Innsmouth, Mr. Walters.
Thanks, I think.
Take my advice. Do what you must and then leave. Tonight. This port does not cater well to visitors.
While I appreciate your concern, miss, I can handle lousy hospitality.
Very well, Mr. Walters.
Hello again.
Mr. Walters.
Look, miss, I only want a conversation. There's no harm in that, right?
There's plenty of harm. It's not wise to be seen gossiping with outsiders.
How about playing dumb for a few minutes?
No.
She's too frightened to talk to me, but this lady knows something.
Holy crap. Someone just dragged someone else through a door and shut it afterwards. I don't see any other entrance for into the First National. We'll talk to this police officer. If he doesn't let us in, we'll have to sneak past him.
Evening, Constable.
Certainly I'm busy. No time for talking to strangers.
I'm Detective Jack Walters. I've been hired by the regional manager of the First National.
And I'm Constable Burt, and I'm the law around these parts, and I'm still not talking to you. Now get lost. Move along outside on.
Stealth in this game is a bit more difficult than I'm used to. You have no knowledge if you're hidden or not in the shadows. We just have to hope that they won't see us. Generally, staying in stealth mode, being crouched, and hiding in shadows like this will mean that you won't be detected. We'll wait here and see if we can remain safe for another one of his patrols, and then we'll investigate that corner that he was walking to. Looks like he's patrolling around the back side of the building. There must be an alternate way back here, I suppose, somehow.
It's unlocked.
Note the marks on the floor. This means you can move the cabinet or shelving in front of the door. That should buy us some time if they decide to come in the way we just did. Wow, the store looks completely emptied out. Unless this place was raided before any supplies arrived.
It looks like I need some sort of lifting handle to get it open. The till's empty.
Looks like if we're gonna rob the place, I guess I could take the money and run. But yeah, why would he force the door open? Force the way inside when he had the key? That door is kicked open, judging from the way the wood is bent.
The drawer is empty. A typewriter, invoices and receipts, nothing of interest. There's a bottle of bootleg rum and a wooden handle.
Probably all the other doors are locked. We're just gonna make that assumption and go down here to the sewer system, it looks like.
Whoever's down there, you can rot.
There must be a handful of people in town that are also suspicious, for them not to just assume it was the outsider who did this. We have no way of gaining access back to the shop.
It looks like a diary. It's gotta have some clues.
Diary of Brian Burnham. Well, I agree with the locals on one thing. I shouldn't be stuck in this miserable excuse for a town. I can see why nobody comes here, that's for sure. Another slow day at the store. At first I thought people were staying away because First National isn't local. I haven't seen anyone go into any of the other stores either. Come to that, I haven't seen the other stores open for business. This place is deader than dead. Still, it won't be long before I'm out of here. Before we're both out of here. She's the only one good thing about Innsmouth. We'll bust up old man White's safe, take a car, and then it's New York City. Bright lights, nightlife, everything. I'll show her all of it. Well, looks like he's not guilty of robbing this store. But sounds like he was going to be guilty of robbing someone else's. Let's read this cult member's diary as well. August 20th, 1915. We have been watching him now for 2 months. I can feel my anticipation growing as the day of contact draws near. Victor has not yet divulged his final plan for bringing Mr. Walters to us. All I know is that we must succeed. The sermon today was inspiring. Victor enlightened us with the story of the great race transcending the bounds of time to visit his dreams. Of the conscious things on this earth, and in the ocean depths, we are but servants to a greater design. I can only hope that my faith during these last days will win me favor when our masters step through the gate. The experiments below have claimed one more of our order. Another volunteer is needed, but many are willing. We are truly blessed through our faithful service, now that his coming grows so close. The preparations are complete, and Victor's plan is in motion. He will arrive soon. Surely by now he must suspect his true nature, or at least question the nature of his gifts. He has come. Finally, it begins.
I can feel the air through holes in the brickwork here.
We can use this like a very slow moving battling ram.
The cellar's filled with human remains.
Wow, I wonder if Burnham even went down into the cellar once to see what was down there. Oh, Red Room, right? I think this is used to develop photographs.
Various chemicals and apparatus for developing photographs. Old photos of Innsmouth. Most of them have faded beyond recognition.
That's waiting for us upstairs. Some ammunition. Looks like a clip for a pistol.
The old printing press appears to have been sabotaged.
That would make sense. Innsmouth doesn't look like they want anyone reporting on Innsmouth activities.
General notices. They're all dated 1846. General notices. They're all dated 1846.
Holy shit!
Nothing of interest. Nothing of interest here.
I was hoping to find some papers or anything which would hint as to...
It won't open.
Why this place was shut down.
Nothing of any real interest. Nope, nothing of interest. The door's bolted shut. Can't see anything of use. Nope, nothing important here.
Hello, Jack.
Do I know you?
Lucas Mackey. Sorry to startle you. Innsmouth doesn't get a lot of visitors. New names spread fast. What are you doing in town, Jack? Hear about the missing Burnham boy?
Not bad. I'm a private detective. My client's a friend of the Burnhams.
Seen the latest press from Arkham? Your boy's been quite busy.
What about you, Mackey? You're obviously not a local. What's your business in town?
True enough, Jack. Nothing too exciting, I'm sorry to say. I'm a government factory inspector. They posted me in this rotten hole to check over the old Marsh refinery. Speaking of which, I've got an appointment with the manager, Jacob Marsh.
Okay, maybe I'll catch you later. That's the first friendly face I've seen in this damn town. But I've been in this business long enough to know he's hiding something.
I'm gonna check really quick, everyone. I think there is a newspaper article in here somewhere. No, I don't see anything.
Old photos of Innsmouth. Most of them have faded beyond recognition.
One more search in this room, and then we're heading out.
From the stench in here, this noose broad must have kicked it a few months back. Nothing of interest here.
Okay, let's take a look at the paper we at least were given by Mackey. Arkham Advertiser, 7th February 1922. Innsmouth robbery, missing manager accused. In yesterday's edition, we reported on a burglary at the recently opened First National grocery store in Innsmouth. The case took a new turn today as authorities in the town named Brian Burnham, the store's manager, as a suspect in the case. Burnham has not yet been seen since the robbery and is thought to have left the area. It is a very straightforward case, said Chief Constable Andrew Martin in response to the inquiries by the Advertiser. This young man simply robbed his employer and fled. I imagine he's out of the county by now, if not the state. The Chief Constable dismissed concern expressed by First National Grocery's regional manager, Mr. Arthur Anderson, that Burnham may have been kidnapped or injured. We have our Nantotica we can read a little later, I suppose. Maybe next episode.
It won't budge.
Oh, I don't know how long we were knocked out. If I recall correctly, though, I don't think they're guarding this way any longer.
done anything.
Well, we have some whiskey to bring back to Zadok Allen. We'll do that, and then I think we'll call the session there. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. The game will pick up action-wise later, just as a heads up, probably 2 videos from now. We get a lot more of this delicious theme first. Oh, no, later.
For the storm is gathering fast. Why, you're uncommonly kind, young feller. Here'll be a little something in gratitude that might help you in your search. Now you be calling me crazy. Like them that's there rumoring in Ankrum and Ipswich. But old Zadok's seen all manner of wicked things since before you was born. Old Captain Obed where it all began. Telling desperate folks they'd order get better gods. Them's that would answer their prayers.
Didn't the Christian folk of Innsmouth object to such blasphemy?
Aye, they did. It were around 46 that many folks in town were done with Obed and his ways. And all that wild preaching and too many missing, you see. A party of good folk followed Captain Obed's crowd out to the reef. Shots were fired. Next day, Obed and 30 of his followers were in jail. And for weeks all were quiet, till that artful night of 46. Them's out outside reckoned out it being a riot. But I'd seen them, swarms of them.
Look, old man, I don't have time to listen to these fishing tales.
Oh, was a massacre. The jail thrown open. Mounds of the dead and the dying. Shooting, screaming and shouting all across the town square. Come morning, the mess was cleaned up. Old Obed and his family takes charge, they did. Folks were told to keep shy of strangers if we were knowing what was good for us.
Zadok, who did all this? Who did all...
Said the old captain was now deeper in debt to his heathen gods. They were hankering for more than just sacrificing. Obed told folks they had to take the oaths of Dagon.
What the hell are these oaths?
You just asked old Wes about oaths of Dagon. Aye, he take the 3rd oath. Just head over to his hole in the Dog Street. Then you'll see, for definite.
He's given me a key to the town poorhouse. It could come in handy. Where did Captain Obed Marsh learn of these heathen matters?
In warring foreign parts, the old fool had learned the ways of making gains, doing heathen things. He found a tribe of Kanakis in the South Seas led by a savage. Chief went by the name of Wallachia. And his tribe never went without food, for they had all the fish they could catch. Old Obed learned from his Wallachia that these things on this earth as most folks never heard about. Seems these Kanakis was worshipping undersea gods, with heaps of human sacrifices and other heathen things. But they was getting all kinds of favors in return. Plenty of fishing and even gold now and then.
Human sacrifices. Maybe you've had just a bit too much.
I don't blame you for not believing it, young fella. But just answer me this. Why did Captain Obed roll out to the reef of Satan and chant a lot of rites and incantations in the dead of night? So loud you could hear 'em all over the port. He caught something in the water that eve, out the other side of Devil's Reef. Some kind of thingamajig crafted out of lead. It was given to him by a Wallachia.
So, what happened?
Well, not long after the smoke started coming out of the chimneys at the old gold refinery, the Marsh family and those that had joined with Obed in his ways started prospering in the esoteric order of Dagon. Came into being with his Ethan sermon. That shit they do.
What kinds of ceremonies?
Yeah. Get out of here, lad. Don't wait for nothing. They'll know now.
I think he's had his fill for the night. Zadok. Zadok.
Curse you, lad, for staring at me with them eyes. The old captain in hell, and he's staying there. He can get me. He can't. No, he can't get me. I had nothing done. I ain't done nothing or told nobody nothing.
Oh, hello, miss.
Mr. Walters, I must speak with you.
It's Jack. And just hold on there a minute, sweetheart. Are you gonna even tell me your name?
My name's Rebecca Lawrence, and unless you want to join Innsmouth's long list of missing, I'd urge you to follow me.
Missing, huh? Like Burnham?
Of that, I'm not sure. You'd be better off asking the Billingham's daughter, Ruth. She was dating Brian.
What? Who's Ruth?
Quickly, we don't have much time. You've got to follow me. Jack, Innsmouth is a strange place. There are things that have no business being here. Foul, reeking things.
Strange? Trust me, I'm good with strange.
That remains to be seen, but I can help you. My father discovered this strange sign while studying an old manuscript. It seems to ward off the more unusual elements in Innsmouth. Whenever you find one, you can use it to find a moment of sanctuary. Now, I must leave before we're seen together.
I've seen that eye-like symbol somewhere before, but never surrounded by a star.
An elder sign, I believe. This is a actual safe save location, as it were. And we will end our game here. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully it's been enjoyable, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care, everyone.